What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our starts and sits for week 1 of fantasy football. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, before we get into today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video as it will help us out tremendously. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. All right, Nick, football is back. We are here, week 1. We already saw the Los Angeles Rams barely show up against the Buffalo Bills, but it got me going. I am so excited for fantasy football. I'm so excited for regular football. And I just want to dive into our starts and sits for week 1. Nick, why don't you get us started taking a look at the quarterback matchups? Who are you starting and sitting in week 1?
Well, to start off, my start quarterback of the week is Jameis Winston going up against the Atlanta Falcons. This is a great matchup. You have the return of Michael Thomas. You're going to see Chris Olave for the first time, and we've already seen what Jarvis Landry and Jameis Winston can do together in that last preseason game. To me, there are a lot of weapons, and I didn't even mention Alvin Kamara. So much to work with, and I think Jameis Winston is going to have a great day against a very poor defense that the Atlanta Falcons are putting out there. I don't expect the Falcons to be doing much defensively, and that should pave the way for a lot of red zone targets for Jameis Winston, and he also has the ability to take off. A lot of people don't look at Jameis Winston as a runner, but he can, and that's going to be a threat on the goal line. So I think Jameis Winston has a lot of high fantasy upside this week. But my sit quarterback is Baker Mayfield going up against his old team in the Cleveland Browns. I think that's a very strong defense. And you have Christian McCaffrey, you have DJ Moore, but you've got a strong front seven. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to struggle there. In the pass game, I think they're going to be looking for him a lot. And then you got Denzel Ward against DJ Moore. It's a tough matchup. I don't know Baker's chemistry is going to be there with the first team offense to start the season. And to me, that's a little worrisome. I don't believe in Baker Mayfield this first week.
Yeah, those are definitely some tough matchups for Baker Mayfield. But when you take a look at some of these other quarterbacks that we have, another one I want to mention as a start quarterback, I'm looking at Trey Lance, ripping that job from Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason. He's going against the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are not the same defense that they were just last season or a few seasons ago. No more Khalil Mack, no more Akeem Hicks. This team is just absolutely gone. They are obliterated. Nobody on the back end of the defense besides Eddie Jackson really scares you. I think Trey Lance is going to be able to use his legs and run all over these guys. I really like what I saw from Trey Lance so far. He's got that arm power to really just send the ball deep. Deebo Samuel's going to tear the Bears apart. I really like what Trey Lance will be doing in week 1. I'm starting him. For my sit quarterback, I'm going with Tua Tagovailoa. I'm still not sold on his ability to get the ball deep down the field. I know you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Those speedsters are great. But when you're taking a look at this Patriots defense, Bill Belichick does one thing and one thing well. He takes away your best option, and he does it without fail. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle will not be able to beat the Patriots over the top. It is going to be check down offenses, a lot of running the ball, a lot of zone runs. That is what the Patriots defense is going to have to face. And Tua Tagovailoa is not going to have the chance to show what Ferraris he was given this offseason in wide receivers. I think that he's going to have a very modest day. I would sit Tua Tagovailoa.
Now moving over to the running backs, my start of the week, continuing with the Miami Dolphins, Chase Edmonds. I think that he's a really good matchup against the New England Patriots. The last couple seasons, the Patriots defense has been very lackluster against the run game, and we saw when they faced the Raiders in the preseason, they were getting torched in the run game. When you have a new head coach in Mike McDaniel, he is implementing that zone run scheme, which Chase Edmonds has had a lot of success in the past, and I think that's going to be very tough for the Patriots to stop week 1. To me, Chase Edmonds has a lot of high upside this week. But my sit running back for the week is going to be J.K. Dobbins. Now, he is questionable going into the game, and I know a lot of people drafted him high in fantasy, but you've got to be wary of what he's going to be doing on the field. We already saw Cam Akers, who had a lot of high value going into the season, take that backseat early on run because they have a healthy Darrell Henderson. I think the same is going to be for Mike Davis and Kenyon Drake. Those will be the two guys that the Ravens will be going to more often this week than J.K. Dobbins.
Definitely good starts and sits there. I want to address one of my start players, and that being Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This is not a guy that I believe in long term, but when you take a look at the Arizona Cardinals, the matchup he's going to be going against, they are struggling on the front end of this defensive line. They don't have the big body Jordan Phillips that they've had in years past. J.J. Watt is by himself, no Chandler Jones. They are going to be able to run the ball significantly well on the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are looking to be a lot more dynamic in their offense. It's not the deep play style that we saw with Tyreek Hill. It's not going to be just Travis Kelce over the middle of the field. They're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to run a lot of options. They're going to get all these other players involved. We're going to see a lot of Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the passing game. I think he's going to have a really, really big day against the Arizona Cardinals, so I would start him. As my sit running back, I want to talk about Damien Pierce. I know everybody's so excited for this rookie running back who stole the job in Houston, but he's going against the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts have one of the best defensive fronts against the running game in the NFL, and Damien Pierce as a rookie running back is not going to have a solid day against this front seven. He's going to struggle, and the linebacking core is extremely athletic. They're long, they're rangy, they can go sideline to sideline, and Damien Pierce is not going to have the holes to run through. I think this is a week where you have to sit Damien Pierce and understand that he is a long-term play, but not a week one play.
Absolutely. Now moving over to the wide receivers, my start wide receiver of the week, Sammy Watkins. Now Sammy Watkins moving over to the Green Bay Packers. We are not going to see Allen Lazard most likely in this game, which means Sammy Watkins becomes a top target for Aaron Rodgers, and that's going to go a long way. We're looking to see who's going to replace Devontae Adams, who's going to get that target share, and Sammy Watkins is in line for a lot of those looks. To me, he is there to make a statement this first week to show that he can be a top target going forward in the season, and I think this is going to be a big opportunity for him with a lot of high value upside this week. But for my sit wide receiver of the week, I'm going with Drake London, the hot wide receiver coming out of the draft. He looked fantastic for that first catch he had in the preseason, but we have not seen him since, and that injury to the knee really does bother me. I don't know if he's going to be able to handle this entire first week being on the field. Is that injury going to come back? They do have a tough matchup with the New Orleans Saints, very tough defense. Marshawn Lattimore is going to want to give a lot of confusion to Drake London. That's going to be very tough for him to get past, and I just don't think that Drake London is going to be the premier wide receiver to start his rookie season.
Yeah, I think Drake London being a rookie is definitely going to struggle. And talking about another rookie wide receiver, though, my start wide receiver is Chris Olave on the other side of the ball for the New Orleans Saints. This guy is such a dynamic route runner. He's not just a speedster that can go deep down the field, but we know Jameis Winston can get him the ball. And Nick, as your starting quarterback, I think that Chris Olave is going to be a great pairing with him. I think he has the ability to run the entire route tree, and with Michael Thomas still hindered by injury, he's going to be covered by AJ Terrell, who is the highest rated cornerback by Pro Football Focus. So taking a look at that, saying that Michael Thomas is probably going to be shut down in his first week, Chris Olave is going to have a ton of targets. He's going to be able to really expose the back end of this Falcons defense, and I really expect him to break out in week one of his rookie season. Now for my sit wide receiver, I'm going to take a big name here, Darnell Mooney of the Chicago Bears. I understand a lot of people drafted Darnell Mooney because he is the only notable wide receiver on the Chicago Bears. The problem is he's going to have to play offensive line if he wants to catch the ball. The fact of the matter is nobody is going to protect Justin Fields. The running game is going to really just be buried. The offensive line's not going to be able to protect Justin Fields, and by the end of the day, Darnell Mooney's going to have a very tough matchup against this 49ers defense. I do not expect him to have a lucrative day. Therefore, I am sitting Darnell Mooney this week.
And then to round it all out, let's take a look at the tight ends. My start tight end of the week, Irv Smith for the Minnesota Vikings. This is a big matchup. Now, Irv Smith had a lot of hype on him going into last season, but then he was out for the year and we didn't get to see that come to fruition. I think this is going to be the year that Irv Smith really breaks out in this offense. Kirk Cousins found KJ Osborne last year when Adam Thielen was out, but I think that the third target guy is going to be Irv Smith. They're going to get the tight end position actually involved in the offense this year. You've got a new head coach, and I think that Irv Smith has so much talent, so much athleticism to offer that he is going to get a lot of the work when all the attention is on Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. And I think that's a great start against the Green Bay Packers. That should be a big shootout game that sees a lot of offense from the Minnesota Vikings. But my sit tight ends of the week is going to be Mike Gesicki for the Miami Dolphins going up against the New England Patriots. They have a very strong defense for tight ends, and they have Kyle Duggar, a third-year safety who started to really come into his own as a lockdown safety against tight ends. And I think this is going to be a big matchup. The Miami Dolphins don't normally use their tight ends a lot, and when you have Kyle Duggar matched up against Mike Gesicki, he's not going to have a lot of opportunities to catch the ball. I'm sitting Mike Gesicki this week.
That's definitely a great sit, especially since he's been in line most of the preseason, not catching footballs, a big issue for Gesicki owners. But if you're looking to replace Mike Gesicki, I would suggest Evan Engram, the big-time tight end free agent acquisition for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Evan Engram going against the Washington Commanders, a team that he knows very well after he faced them twice a year with his time in the New York Giants. I believe that Evan Engram, with his speed and athleticism, is going to be a hot target for Trevor Lawrence and company. With the acquisitions of Christian Kirk and then Travis Etienne coming back, they are going to need some sort of stability in the middle of the field. I believe that's where Evan Engram comes in. He's going to be that security blanket for Trevor Lawrence, and I believe that he will be a focal point of this offense moving forward. I like Evan Engram in week 1. Moving on to my sit tight end, though, I'm taking Logan Thomas simply because of the fact that he is still injured. He is not fully healthy. Even if he does play, he is not going to be 100%. And I believe that when you're taking a look at this Jacksonville Jaguars team, they are extremely young, they're fast, they're rangy, and they know how to cover. At the end of the day, I think Logan Thomas is one of those tight ends that he is a spot play at best, and this is not the spot to play him. So I will be sitting Logan Thomas in week 1.
This week 1, we have a lot of exciting matchups, and I think we're going to see a lot of fantasy output. But if some of your star players do not come to fruition, do not have great games, don't panic. This is going to be a lot of getting back into the rhythm of things for these players. They did not see a lot of preseason action, and this is just knocking the rust off, just like we saw the Rams. They had a rough week 1, but you're not going to be that cautious with the Rams moving forward. Same is going to apply for a lot of the teams playing on Sunday.
All right, well, if you guys have any questions about your fantasy team, feel free to hit us down in the comments. We'll be happy to answer them all the way up and through game time. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.